We're going to look at Alta here on the weekly. We closed down around 226, but we did place a green candle on the day. So you have a high of 390, a low of 350 for the week in here. So about a 40-point move this past week. And you're basically on average volume in here or just a little bit below it. So your RSI has a little bit of a pop in here. You had some decent volume. So we're going to see, depending on if we're going to gap up or down this coming week. 397 is going to be the area of concern up here. You can kind of chalk that up to a $3 channel, 397 to about 400. That's going to be an area that we're going to watch in here for a harsh resistance, just because this trend line has been respected so much in the past, and that's going all the way out to March of last year. Now, above that, you're going to be looking at this 410 level and then this 200 SMA in here on your weekly chart. So that is going to be an area that we're going to watch, and that's basically like a $7 channel up there that you're going to kind of be concerned about. Now, below where we're currently trading, which is at 383 mark, we have this 23.6 fib level. That was a nice resistance for us in the past, basically 2 months here. So that is going to be our first support. That's going to be currently trading at 371.73. And then anything below that, it's going to be this 9-day EMA, which is at 367, or it's going to be down here at the 350 mark. You can see that was a nice area for us in here in the past week or so. Basically, that was our low of this past week, and then the previous week below that. And then if you go back a couple weeks, and then even back until February, you can see the low points of all those weeks was right in those below 50 areas. So that is going to be a nice support for us if we have to kind of pull back again, because it looks like we've done a lot of consolidating here between that 370 and that 350 area here within the past couple weeks. So perhaps a breakout and a hold here is good news in here. And maybe we're only going to get down to about the 370s before we start working our way higher to this upper trend line here. Now, if we go to the daily chart, you can kind of see exactly what happened this past week. Obviously, indecision this past Friday. We're sitting right on that 200 SMA. So you did have a nice breach here of that 200 SMA. And then obviously just a tank down below that. That was on Wednesday's trading session. So you had that high of 390, then a low of 375. Following Thursday, basically ran up to that 388. And then it looks like on Friday, basically, we just opened at 385 and then had that low of 380, but we ended the day at 383. So you had only about a $5 here, a $5 move in here on Alta, which sucked out a lot of IV on an indecision candle on the daily chart. As you can see, we're kind of sitting right on that 200 SMA in here for our Alta daily chart. Below that, it is going to be that 373. You can see that's where that 9-day EMA currently matches up to. So this whole area in here is going to get really jumbled, but it could be a nice area of support for us in here. RSI on the daily getting a little bit overbought. Obviously, that's going to happen when you start the week down here with a low of 350 and then you end up at 383. So that is what's going to happen in there. But really, you're kind of closer to overbought than you are neutral, but you're still kind of in no man's land here on the RSI. So we'll see what happens as we work our way throughout this next trading session week. Your IV in here, we did say it was collapsing a little bit, and that's going to be at 46, around a $14 expected move by this Friday, and right around a $23 expected move by your May monthlies. And you also have earnings coming up at the end of May in here. So don't have to worry about an earnings run just quite yet. Technically, we're just going to be looking at this upper trend line here for a harsh rejection or in respect, or is it going to be a breach? And then we're going to respect it as our support, right? So that is more or less what we care about. We don't really care about anything news-based or anything earnings like that going forward for the near term. Long term, obviously, we have about a month away from our earnings. So then we care about that the closer we get to earnings. Now you do have right around a $24 expected move by those May monthlies, like we mentioned before. So basically that's going to keep this 400 level and down here, this 346, or I'm sorry, the 367 level on the table for us. So we're going to see what happens in here, and we're going to see how much volatility will contract, because obviously we do have earnings coming up at the end of the month. Volatility will start to expand as we get closer. So maybe a little bit of contraction first, and then we start to expand as we get closer to those earnings reports. But again, all we care about in here is going to be this upper trend line, which is currently at 397. We care about the 23.6. Below that, we're looking at this 350 level for our major key areas in here and key levels. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you're interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.